All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and look at why rapid user activation is basically your ultimate survival mechanism for SaaS in 2026. Look, if you're still relying on old growth hacks, there's a really good chance you're bleeding revenue before your users even figure out what your product does. So today, we're breaking down exactly how top-tier companies are engineering their user journeys to unlock some massive, sustainable growth.
Here is our roadmap. We'll be hitting the 2026 SaaS reality, defining the aha moment, the activation choke point, engineering the aha moment, AI and contextual onboarding, and finally, metrics that actually matter. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The 2026 SaaS reality. The boom years are officially over.
26%. If you're growing at 26%, you know what? You're just tracking with the median for SaaS companies in the $1 to $30 million ARR range in 2026. That is a sharp drop from the 60% plus hypergrowth peaks we used to see. I know it's incredibly frustrating for founders used to that old velocity, but the rules for hitting that top tier have completely shifted.
And it really comes down to this. Sustainable growth is now valued higher than hypergrowth with terrible unit economics. Investors and the broader market have grown up, right? They want capital efficiency, not vanity metrics. A business growing through expansion and high retention is just fundamentally healthier than one burning cash to acquire new customers just to stay afloat.
Moving to Section 2, defining the aha moment, which is really the inflection point. So, if acquiring new users isn't the cheap growth lever it used to be, we have to talk about what actually keeps them around. We need to talk about the aha moment. It's the exact point a user realizes your product's core value. This is the crucial bridge between initial retention and actual net revenue. Because think about it, if a new customer logs in and just stares at a blank dashboard on day one without finding immediate value, you aren't just losing a trial user, you are literally losing money.
Section 3. The activation choke point. This is where users are dropping off.
Okay, here is a crazy anti-vanity truth for you. Sign-up volume is actually up 22% year over year. Getting sign-ups is easier than ever. But median activation rates, they've dropped 4 points. The choke point is no longer acquisition. It is absolutely activation. Your competitors are pushing lighter, easier to start demos, which means your product is also way easier to abandon. Getting users to activate before they bounce is the actual battleground right now.
Just look at this performance gap. The median SaaS company forces users to wander around for 14 agonizing minutes before finding value. Meanwhile, the top decile performers, they engineer a direct path to that aha realization in under 4 minutes. In today's market, those 10 minutes are literally the difference between a lifelong customer and a churned account.
Section 4. Engineering the aha moment. Here is the blueprint.
So how do we close that 10-minute gap? Well, the old SaaS onboarding playbook relied on one-size-fits-all tours that dumped useless features on users, taking 14-plus minutes to value, all followed by those generic calendar-based drip emails. Aha moment engineering replaces all of that. It uses highly targeted role-based paths to get users to value in under 4 minutes with lifecycle emails triggered by actual product behavior.
Here is your 4-step actionable blueprint. 1. Eliminate friction and simplify flows. 2. Build role-based onboarding paths. 3. Deploy AI-driven contextual help. And 4. Trigger lifecycle emails based on product action. A customer success manager needs completely different features on day one than a support agent does, right? So by tailoring the path, you make sure every single user gets exactly what they need the absolute second they log in.
Section 5. AI and contextual onboarding. This is your 2026 advantage. We definitely can't talk about hyper-personalization without talking about the tech making it scalable. Top-tier companies are using AI-driven onboarding walkthroughs that actually adapt to the user's role. They surface contextual in-app guidance right at friction points. They even use AI-powered article creation that automatically updates the knowledge base based on ticket patterns, sometimes for as little as $5 an article. Plus, they fire in-product upgrade prompts exactly during usage, not just randomly.
And if you're thinking optimizing all this is just a nice-to-have, check out this brutal reality. In B2B, a failed onboarding might cost you $30,000 in annual recurring revenue and completely torch 6 months of hard-fought sales effort. In B2C, sure, a lost trial is maybe $10, but in B2B, the stakes are massive. A clunky first impression means you might as well be setting cash on fire.
Section 6. Metrics that actually matter. Let's measure the impact.
Let's tie this back to the bottom line, because if you can't measure it, you can't scale it. Feel free to screenshot this retention audit checklist right now. You want your time to first value to push above your cohort average. For engagement, your DAU to MAU ratio should be hitting 20 to 30% plus. Support metrics like CSAT and NPS need to be trending up quarter over quarter. And for revenue, you're aiming for a gross revenue retention of 85 to 90% plus and net revenue retention of 110 to 120% plus. These are the exact benchmarks that prove your strategy is working.
Why are those numbers so absolutely critical? Because heading into 2026, existing customers now generate over 40% of new ARR. While the median NRR is hovering around 106%, the smartest founders, the best-in-class companies, are hitting 120 to 130% NRR. They know for a fact that their existing user base is their ultimate growth engine.
So I want to leave you with this one final provocative question. How many minutes does it genuinely take your users to say aha? Because if you don't know the exact answer to that, your competitors who are aggressively engineering their onboarding already have you beat. Stop just pushing users toward value and start engineering the exact moment they pull it from your product themselves. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.